Today we're trying out the reverse coloring method. I've seen a lot of people use watercolor to make their own reverse coloring book pages, but I haven't seen anybody do it digitally yet. Somebody probably has, but I just haven't seen it. So what I'm going to be doing is making some abstract watercolor looking color blotches in Procreate and seeing if we can't turn them into some kind of artwork. Okay, so the rules I have set for myself is that I'm not using any undo, no eraser, and one marker, so one brush that I'm using to outline all my lines. So to start with, I used a variety of brushes to make a watercolor looking background for my line work. I tried my best not to think about making specific shapes. On the first one, I used random colors. I didn't like how it turned out, it just seemed really muddy and messy. So afterwards, I scrolled through some palettes that Procreate automatically gives you, and I used 3 colors from a vertical line in the palette like this. Even though my first abstract watercolor painting didn't turn out as planned, I'm still going to use it for the rest of this video. Alright, let's get started. I've already pre-drawn all the backgrounds like you saw. Since this is typically done traditionally on paper, most people use some kind of fine liner or brush pen. I'm going to use the water pen that Procreate automatically comes with. I like how it has a traditional feel to it. Here, if I zoom in, you can see that it's got a lot of texture and it's really nice and it looks like a nice brush pen. I apologize if I sound sick. That's because I am. I'm getting over a cold. My first painting turned out really messy. I don't know what I was thinking using all these different colors together, but that's okay, we're gonna use it anyways. After staring at this picture for quite some time, the pink blobs jumped out at me as jellyfish. Now, I have not drawn jellyfish in a very long time, so these are far from accurate, and I'm kinda taking some liberty with where the tentacles are. It's not really jellyfish shaped, but, you know, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. So I hid Procreate's interface just so I don't accidentally tap the undo button out of habit. Okay, does anybody else think this looks like a cake? I think it looks like a cake. I should have just drawn that as a cake. I think a lot of these reverse coloring book pages will end up as under C pictures just because when they're so colorful and abstract, it's easy to throw fish or jellyfish and it looks somewhat intentional because Under the Ocean is already so colorful and kind of abstract. Okay, so when I drew the first jellyfish, I planned for the rest of the pink blobs to be jellyfish too, but this pink blob looked like a squid. And oh boy, did I draw the squid wrong. I totally blanked on what a squid looked like, and I drew the head so weird. Like, the pointy things aren't even in the right spot. So I guess that's staying in the piece. We're just gonna try to ignore that. We've already spent so long on this piece that I think it's just time to move on to the next one or this video is gonna be so long. I didn't realize how much I relied on the undo button until I made myself not allowed to use it. I think this is a good exercise, so I wouldn't definitely recommend it all the time, but it definitely made me have to think about my lines a little more. It's interesting how this reverse coloring book became so popular because this is something that I think a lot of artists already do in their sketchbooks, is make random blobs and then turn them into something just as like a warm-up or a drawing exercise to fill your sketchbook. I think it's really cool that it's becoming more popular. Alright, so after that monstrosity, let's move on to the next page. Okay, for this one I almost immediately saw 2 dragons. I know, more dragons. Let me know what you saw, if it was something different. Once I started drawing, the dragon shape became very clear to me. It has a slender snout and a crown of feathers, and then those kind of pink dots turn into more feathers, so it's a very feathery dragon. And not long after drawing, the wing jumped out at me, and you can see it's a big feathered wing. I really like dragons with feathers. I think it adds a unique element to them. Let me know if you like dragons or what kind of dragon's your favorite. For the second dragon, it took me a little bit to decide if I wanted to do another feathered dragon or just a regular one. And then when I got past the wing, I realized the tail was super short. And so I turned it into more like a bird-like tail. I don't think this dragon would technically fly. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if many dragons would technically fly. But I didn't mind the look of the short feathered tail. I would have preferred a longer tail, but that's okay. And then I just added some details and some clouds and some more feathers on both of the dragons, and that was it for this one, and we moved on to the next. Okay, so this is going to be our final page. I was torn between making this a cave or some kind of more outdoorsy landscape. I ended up doing a less enclosed landscape. So I started off with the tree on the left, and then I filled in the very bumpy field with grass and some smaller trees, so that's more the mid-ground. It was a lot of empty space, so I tried to fill it with some more hatchy kind of marks. After a few minutes on the field, I saw a river-looking shape in the purpley blue, and so I blocked that in. Once I finished all that, I didn't know what I wanted to do with the top right corner. It looked like maybe another tree, but I didn't want to be that boring, so I wanted to turn it into some kind of creature. At first I was thinking maybe a bird diving, but then I turned it into a sky whale. And then some of the other more background orangish shapes I turned into more whales. Some of them are a little bit out there. You know, the whale shape isn't really there. I just kind of improvised. After that, I added a white border around a lot of the shapes. I've seen some other people use gel pens, and so I thought that, you know, just using white instead of black is equivalent to using a gel pen. I liked the white outline so much that I actually went back onto the dragon piece and added more white outlines on that one. I didn't bother with the underwater piece. I really didn't like the way that one turned out. If you'd like to use any of these pages yourself and do a digital reverse coloring page, I'll leave a link in the description where you can freely download the pages and bring them into whatever drawing software you use. I don't think the point of doing this reverse coloring method is to actually come up with a finished piece. I think it's more of a warm-up, just a way to get your creative juices flowing. With the colors already on the page, you don't feel as intimidated by a blank canvas, and you can just add shapes and sketches without having to really think too hard about it. I think it's just a way to make the canvas less intimidating, or the paper or the page, and just get you drawing, just get you creating. I think that's the main point of it. So none of these are going to turn out like finished pieces or anything super awesome, but I think it's a lot of fun just to let yourself draw whatever you see and not really think about it. Alright, that's it for this video. Don't forget to check the description if you'd like to download these pages. Bye!